Hello and welcome to Give and Take, the Virtues in Life. And today's topic is uBuntu Civics Academy. And we have a wonderful guest who will introduce herself and tell us all about this academy. So welcome.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Cecily. Thank you for having me. It's so kind. Yes, so I am Pieterse. I'm from South Africa, and I am the founder of the uBuntu Civics Academy. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad I got you to say your name because you said it so beautifully.
Thank you. I know people struggle with it.
Right. So tell us about this academy, Anna Marie.
Okay, so maybe, the way it started, I have been involved in what I refer to as unity consciousness for many years, since 2005. Year 2005, I became involved with Humanities Team. And Humanities Team is a global spiritual movement with a core principle, operating principle of oneness. So what we are saying in Humanities Team is we are awakening the world to oneness, which is unity consciousness.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so when I became involved in 2005, I knew that if we were going to wonder about what it really means to be human and what oneness meant, it was going to be very important that we look at that from the African perspective. I'm from South Africa. So for me, it was very, very important that I consider that from our African perspective. What does it mean to be human? What does oneness, what does unity consciousness mean from this perspective? And I had known about the concept of Ubuntu. When you're in Africa or South Africa, it's something that you feel it in the first place. It's an energy that you know. We speak about, we say it's a consciousness and it's a way of being, so you know about it. And also when you read about it, it's something that really draws you. It's something that really attracts you. And I knew then that whatever I was going to do in Humanities Team was going to be from that perspective, from the Ubuntu perspective. And I had studied psychology before, but I had kicked it up, and in this process, I was very much interested in forensic psychology, and then changed direction. And so my major in psychology was the spiritualities of the world, or the religions of the world, of which African worldview is a part of. And that deepened my understanding of this whole concept of Ubuntu. And so over the many years that I've just had the most incredible years serving in Humanities Team, but then also at the same time highlighting and, learning sharing what I have come to learn about Ubuntu. So right from the beginning, I was an advocate for Ubuntu right from the very beginning. So I've done lots and lots of work and advocacy for Ubuntu over the years. And then eventually, so Humanities Team is a volunteer organization. I am the country coordinator here in South Africa. As I said, I've just done the most incredible, amazing, wonderful, joyous things in my serving in Humanities Team. But with my focus on Ubuntu, I developed, I had just developed so much material, so much research. I had written a book that's not published yet, but I have so much to share, and I felt that it was very necessary that I started my own uBuntu Civics Academy. So the purpose of that is, as you hear the word civics, they are the most beautiful academic papers written about Ubuntu. And there are lots of books written about Ubuntu, but it's not out there in the mainstream for civil society. And I felt that it was very important that we bring the basics, and then obviously, we go deeper and deeper and deeper, because Ubuntu can just take you to the most incredible spaces. For me, Ubuntu is the answer if you really wanted to know who you are, if you wanted to know how to reach your highest potential, if you wanted to know how we were going to address the challenges that we are facing, Ubuntu has all those answers. It's the key to all of that. Understanding Ubuntu is the key to all of that. So, but I wanted to, there was, you can go and find a little video here and there. You can read a book here and there, but I wanted to bring it all together. And because it is, over the years, it comes from an oral tradition. It's something that has been transferred, as a way of living, storytelling in villages and so on, from generation to generation. So I wanted to bring that together, and I think this is just the age that we are living in as well. We're living in the information age, the technology age. So it's possible, to research, but it's also possible to share. So it's just the most wonderful thing, and so that is what the Ubuntu Civics Academy is all about. It is, I founded it for the purpose to help people, all of us, to reclaim and to live it, and to cultivate an Ubuntu conscious society. And before I go back to you, I'm always very, it's important for me to say that I'm no expert in Ubuntu, because it's not anything, it's a very abstract thing. It's like to say, how can you be an expert in love? It's the same kind of a question.
Right.
How can you be an expert in consciousness? It's not like that.
Right.
Something that grows in you.
It's inherent, right?
Exactly.
Yes, an inherent quality.
Absolutely. So I'm very. It's very important for me to say I'm no specialist. It's just the most incredible gem, the most incredible. I call it the greatest spiritual gift of Africa to the world, and that I feel I have a responsibility, because I just find it so incredible. It's impossible for me to hold it back. Whatever I have to share, it's just impossible, because it's just too beautiful and too important.
Wonderful, yeah. It's really, and that's how I met you, through the Ubuntu retreat that I went, and through Helen Sayers and stuff, and I also had Cormo come on, and so I said, when I saw your information, I said, oh, I want you to come on as well, because you're sharing from a different perspective, and living there. So you're living it as well, and then you've turned it into this Civics Academy, because you want to get that word out, and it is a jewel of Africa. It's a gem of Africa that needs to be, shared throughout the entire world. Just like a namaste, same like namaste. I honor the divinity in you. Ubuntu is, I am, because we are.
Exactly. It's the same thing. And also, I think it's something that both Helen and Kuma have shared. There's a greeting, an African greeting, Sawubona. Sawubona says, I see you. It's the same as Namaste. Namaste says, I recognize the divinity in you. And that's really what Sawubona is in. It says, I see you. I see all of you. I see where you come from. I see where you are. I see where you're going to. I see you in your community. I see all of who you are, your greatness, your whole, all of who you are.
Right.
And I'm also, and this is something that Kuma also mentioned that I think is a very important part of that, and that is the presence. When you greet a person like that, you become quiet, because you know that you are in the presence of another awesome human being.
Just like yourself, exactly. And so, I spoke about the other day, I said, in fact, one of my guests that came on Monday, and I said, if I reject you, I also reject myself, and vice versa. And I also reject God, because if we claim to say that we are children of God, then we're rejecting God, because his thing is that we're his children. So if we're rejecting each other, we're rejecting God. So it's a very deep, deep aspect of life, and people tend to just dismiss it, like, oh, I don't like you. Really, that means you don't like yourself.
Exactly. And you will see also, whenever I write, I am, because we are, I, written with it's a capital I, it's a capital A, the we is a capital, the R is a capital letter, because from this consciousness, from the African worldview, we speak of a human being, but from this worldview, the human being is a divine being.
Yes.
It's written in capital, I am, because we are, because all of this is sacred.
It's
All
very
of this,
sacred. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
includes the mountains, it includes the animals, it includes nature, it includes
Right.
even our thoughts, the seen and the unseen. All of life is sacred. Everything is sacred,
Right.
and
Exactly.
yeah.
You know, I was sharing a little bit about you earlier. When I went yesterday to with some young girls in Yonkers. They're
Yes.
were 11 years old in a school, and someone that I know, she invited me to speak to these girls. And I always like to do the Ubuntu, the visiting cards from Helen's book. And
Wonderful.
it was really very lovely. And they were very compliant. They didn't say, oh, why do we have to do this? No attitude. They just went with it because it's that energy. It's
Yes,
that energy,
yes.
you know, the feeling of it. And so I
Yeah.
had them, basically, they write their name and then they switch. I said, you switch with somebody else and that person has to look at you. So look at your qualities. Not like
Yes.
Anne-Marie has blonde hair, she has earrings in her hair, she's wearing white. No, I want you to look at the person here and see the
Yes.
divinity in that person, see the virtues in that person. It came out so beautiful.
Oh, I can just
So
imagine.
beautiful.
Yeah, I believe you absolutely, and how that flows, isn't that? So when
Yes.
you in that energy and you allow it, is that intention, you know,
That
knowing
intention.
true knowing of the other person, that opens, you know, opens up the heart and
Right.
makes space for everything, you know. So that is just wonderful.
Right. And I said, you know, with some of these things that you're surprised by, some of them were surprised by some of the things. You know, you're creative, you're this, you're that. But I said, that is who you are. And then I wanted them to meditate on it. So they begin to believe it and feel it and connect to it. And so I said,
Yes,
just meditate on that. That's your new passport. I called it a new passport. That's your new
wonderful.
passport. That's who you
Yes,
are. And just always go back to that. If somebody wants to insult you or say
yes.
anything negative about you, but say, but I've got this new passport that tells me I'm this. I'm not any of
Yes.
that, what you're trying to say.
Yes, absolutely. You know what? That reminds me, Cecilia, of also a beautiful African story. I don't know if you have ever heard that. So this is all about identity. So the story goes that when an African woman is pregnant, she would go out into the field, and so she would take her, you know, the other mothers from the village with her, and so they would spend some time in the veld, and they would focus on this new being that will be coming to the
Oh,
world,
how lovely.
and that they would be dreaming up a song for this child. So when the child is born, they will sing this song to the child. So this song is something that is sung, you know, with every big occasion, you know, everything that happens. That because that is the identity of the child. It's part of the person's identity. But there's something very important about that. It's not only when things are going well. It's most important that we are reminded of who we really are when things aren't going well, when
Right.
we have forgotten who we really are. So the story goes that if a person has done something that was harmful and not good to the community, the person would be put in the center, in the circle, and what they would do is they would sing your song for you.
Right.
So you would remember who you really
I love
are.
that.
That is so beautiful because those are the qualities. You know, we come with specific qualities,
We
and we
do.
need to remind of that.
Right. We have those intrinsic qualities, you know, the virtues. And it was themed around the superpowers. And I said, I'm going to give you some superpowers today. And those superpowers are virtues. And so I
Yes.
gave them that, and they had already been led into that direction already with the person who coordinated it. She really did a lovely job and showed them the different levels of consciousness, the inner consciousness, the outer consciousness. So they were already very well prepared. I want to stop here, Anna Marie, because I want to see that video clip now so that we can see from there. So we'll
Wonderful.
take a look at that.
Thank you.
So that video was showing us about the Civics Academy, and it was giving some nice messages, reminding us what we were talking about, reminding us about who we are. So you want to talk a little bit about that
Yes.
and how that came. It was very well done.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for playing that clip, because that is really what my work is all about at this point in time. So it is, that video is to promote the Ubuntu Keepers initiative that I started. So the reason for that is that we discussed this just now. Within inside of us is the seed of grace, is the seed of our greatest potential. So we are all keepers of Ubuntu, all keepers of the seed. But what I wanted to do is, so what I have done is I have created 8 lectures on the basics of Ubuntu. And so that is my free gift to the world. So anyone can go and watch those videos, and it's wonderful to see the feedback from people from all over the world. It's quite interesting for me to see that there's more interest outside of the world almost for Ubuntu than inside of my country, but that is
That's
just the
what
way
happens.
it is. So, yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah. A hero is not recognized in his own country, isn't that so?
That's what happens,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so I wanted to do that, but if Ubuntu was going to grow and thrive and develop and be spreading to the world, social transformation starts with personal transformation. It starts with personal development. So I wanted to take it a step further and say, right, so we are all keepers of Ubuntu, but to become a real Ubuntu keeper in this initiative, what you will be doing is you will watch these videos, and you will do a short assignment, whereafter you will get a personalized certificate and a badge, and you will become part of the growing global Ubuntu Keepers community.
Very lovely.
So that clip reminds us, as we said, we'll discuss this a little bit earlier. The world is in trouble. When we look at the world, we can clearly see that we are in trouble, and so we are inviting people to look at Ubuntu as the key and as the gateway to making a change in all of this. And this is what the initiative is all about.
So, Anna Marie, what we're going to do, we're going to look at this, so the images that you sent through, and we're going to scroll through those now.
Wonderful.
Okay, it's a wonderful picture gathering. I don't know if that's a family or with you, and I think you're in it, yes. And what is that image?
Okay, so I know that there were 2 images that I sent. I know the one, and I think this maybe when you say it looks like a family.
Yeah.
So in Humanities team, over the years, we have on a regular basis, we have a spiritual leadership award, a global spiritual leadership award to some or the other leader. And we have had the honor that 2 of our South African leaders have been given the Global Spiritual Leadership Award for Humanities team. The one year was Archbishop Desmond Tutu.
Okay.
So you all know the Peace Laureate, and the other one was Nelson Mandela. We gave that to him posthumously. So that image you have was when the Global Council of Humanities team came over to South Africa, specifically for that wonderful event. We had the most incredible event with a live show starting from the afternoon into sunset, into the evening. So that was just a wonderful moment.
Okay, so we have a couple more images that we'll look at now. Oh, I think this is the one with the global, yes, I guess with the awards and stuff. Yeah, that looks like it now. I think the other one, there was something else. We have one more image. And this is all the little, I like this one with all the values and principles, and it's all the little boxes, laws of Ubuntu and all of that. Very nice. So it gives you a nice little capture of each thing in the Ubuntu. So that's very nice, yes.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful.
So now, Anna Marie, how can one reach you if they wanted to find out more about Ubuntu or bringing it to a place near them, or how can they?
Thank you. So I have an online school.
Okay.
It's so interesting. So people say, well, how can I visit your school? So you can visit my school in virtual space.
Nice.
So It's simply the school of the Ubuntu Civics Academy, and we will have a link in the video. And I'm on Facebook as well under the Ubuntu Civics Academy. And I want to invite people to look out for. I have a number of short videos that makes it possible for people to they don't have to read through lots of information to understand what this is really all about.
Right, great. What else would you share with people about Ubuntu, the Civics Academy, or anything as it relates to Ubuntu?
I'm very fond of is symbols and archetypes and indigenous knowledge and so on. And again, I am no expert at all, but what I can tell you, and I'm in the process of writing a module for advanced course that I'm doing at the moment, and that is all about going back to your origins, going back to your roots, and that is really what, when it comes to ancient knowledge, there's so much to be learned about yourself, about the world, about the other person, about how life works, when we tap into the ancient knowledge, into ancient symbols. And I really make a point in all of my teachings. That is what I bring across, So I share the symbols, and I give people the opportunity to do their own, to search for themselves what that might possibly mean for them,
Lovely.
So that's a very important element of my work. And that is something that is being called for right now all over the world. You can listen to all the people, the great teachers are all calling for us to get back to our roots.
Because I'm seeing, actually, as it stands right now, with the instability that we're going through right now, without mentioning anything or any situation, is that they are looking more at online schooling for right now, just to keep people safe and in confined areas and stuff. So it's really the way to go. That's how the direction and what things are going to move into that way, that we're going to be communicating via the internet, the World Wide Web, whatever. And we're going to be learning that way. And so these things have been developed for a reason, not just for them to just, okay, we're going to meet that way. It's going to be a necessity to meet in these kinds of ways, how we're meeting now.
Yes, and what I'm seeing happening as well is that, so there's incredible information in virtual space.
Yes.
But what we do with that information as well is, you can download it. You can take that material and you can still use it. You can still gather in little groups and communities.
Right, exactly.
And make it alive, because there's nothing like getting together in person, as you experience, going to France, and sharing, learning about Ubuntu and sharing, being in the space.
Yeah, it was very lovely, yes.
Nothing beats that. But we are living in this time where, this is technology. This is the information age. So we make use of all of that.
Right.
This is the gift. This is the gift that we've given ourselves.
It's been a gift. Yeah, this is a gift, and we have to understand that. So, cursing it or saying that, this, that, the next, it's in how you use it. So if you use it in the right consciousness, it's all about our consciousness. If you use it in the right consciousness, then it won't work against you, and you have no reason to curse it, because it's been created for us to use in times like this instability that's happening right now. It's time for us to, it's here for us to use in these times. I can interview you. You're in South Africa. I'm in the US, and I can interview you without you hopping on a plane and coming over here, or vice versa.
Exactly. It's just phenomenal. It's really, really mind-blowing. And we said this earlier as well. We have created this, we can do all kinds of funny things. But, this is what the consciousness is all about. We can say the same thing about money. Lots of people say, oh my goodness, money is, is evil. Again, just the consciousness that goes with all of this.
Exactly. Right. So it's not that the money's evil. It's the consciousness in which the way that you're using that money. That's the evilness of it, the consciousness. Because money is an energy. Everything is an energy. So it's an energy. And so if you use it in the right energy consciousness space, then it won't be evil. It will work for you in a very good way. So it's all... So anyway, we're winding down, Anna Marie. Any last things you'd like to say to the viewers?
No, just again, repeat what I said again. All cultures have their gifts. all cultures have their creation story. They have their archetypes, which is a representation of some of the other consciousness that they want to bring to the world. Africa has the consciousness of Ubuntu, and it is so enriching. And I want to invite people to have a look at the Ubuntu Civics Academy and learn about the wonderful gift that Africa share with the world.
Great, wonderful, wonderful. I want to thank you for that, Anna Marie. I'm glad you came on, and you shared about what you've done with Ubuntu. You've created this Civics Academy, and I think that's wonderful. And I would hope that people go on and see you're offering a gift online to do the sessions, and they get a nice certificate afterwards. That's very benevolent. And because you know the importance of sharing this, it will begin to shape our consciousness. There are so many different things out there that, such as this, to help us shape our consciousness. So I want to thank you for, you and your academy and your group of people that you're connected with. I want to thank you for doing this very much, because it's needed, especially in these unstable times at the moment. So I'm going to sign off with you. Thank you for coming on, Anna Marie.
So great. Thank you so much for having me and for our wonderful, wonderful conversation, Cecily.
Yes,
great.
I appreciate it
Thank
so
you.
Much. So I'm going to thank my viewers for tuning in. So to the viewers, if there's ever a time, is to really take this in now, is that your level of consciousness is the gateway to the future. Thank you.